The massive space station called Concordia Prime floated in the darkness between stars like a glowing city made of crystal and metal. Inside its huge corridors, hundreds of different alien creatures walked, flew, and crawled past each other. Some had multiple eyes, others had tentacles instead of arms. A few looked like walking trees with glowing bark. Ambassador? Kim Tae-ho pulled at his black uniform jacket as he walked through the station's main hallway. His heart was beating fast, but he tried not to show it. This was the biggest day in human history. Earth had joined the Galactic Council only 6 months ago, and this was their first major meeting with all the other species. Walking beside him was Park Min-ho, a tall man with sharp eyes who was responsible for keeping Kim safe. On his other side was Dr. Lee Sora, a woman with glasses who knew more about alien technology than almost anyone on Earth. She carried a small device that translated alien languages into Korean and English. "We are the new kids here. Everyone will be watching us." Kim nodded. Through the giant windows, he could see other ships arriving. Some were as big as cities. Others looked like living creatures swimming through space. Earth's ship looked tiny compared to most of them. They entered the main meeting hall, and Kim had to stop walking for a moment. The room was so huge that clouds actually formed near the ceiling. Thousands of seats were arranged in circles that went up and up like a giant stadium. At the very top sat the most important species, the ones who had been in space the longest and had the most power. "The hegemony," Dr. Lee whispered, pointing up. "For species that have controlled galactic politics for over 10,000 years, they make most of the big decisions." Kim looked up at the top section. The creatures there were beautiful and terrible at the same time. Some glowed with their own light, others seemed to be made of living metal. They all looked down at the lower levels like kings looking at peasants. A voice boomed through the hall, and Kim's translator device made it sound like a human speaking. "All members of the Galactic Council, take your designated positions. Session will begin." The humans were seated in the very bottom section, along with about 20 other species. A sign above their area said junior members in dozens of different languages. Kim felt his face get hot with embarrassment, but he sat down anyway. The meeting began with boring talk about trade routes and mining rights. Kim tried to pay attention, but most of it did not affect Earth at all. Then something changed. The temperature in the room seemed to drop, and all the alien voices became quiet. A creature from the top section stood up. It was tall and thin, with skin that looked like polished silver. Its eyes were large and completely black. When it spoke, every translator in the room carried its words. "I am High Arbiter Velthor of the Hegemony," it said. Its voice was smooth but cold, like ice water. "We have an announcement for all junior species." Kim felt Park Min-ho tense up beside him. Around the bottom section, representatives from other young species leaned forward nervously. "The galaxy requires order," Velthar continued. "Recent conflicts have shown that junior species are not capable of managing their own military forces responsibly. Therefore, all junior species will immediately surrender 60% of their military assets to hegemony control." Kim's mouth fell open. Round him, other junior species began talking loudly in their own languages. Some sounded angry, others sounded scared. Velthar raised one long arm, and the room became quiet again. Additionally, each junior species will accept permanent monitoring stations within their home systems. These stations will ensure compliance with galactic law and prevent any future misunderstandings. Dr. Lee grabbed Kim's arm. "They want to control our military and put spy stations in our solar system," she whispered. "This is not a negotiation," Velthar said, and now his voice had an edge to it like a sharp knife. "This is a requirement for continued membership in the Galactic Council. Those who refuse will face corrective action." Kim felt anger rising in his chest. He had been a diplomat for 15 years, and he knew a threat when he heard one. But he also knew that Earth was just one small planet compared to the massive alien civilizations around him. He stood up slowly. The movement felt huge in the quiet room, and thousands of alien eyes turned to look at him. His voice shook just a little as he spoke. "High Arbiter," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. Humanity requests time to consult with our government before responding to such significant terms. For a moment, Velthor just stared at him. Then something that might have been a smile crossed the alien's face, but it was not a friendly smile. Around the top section, other hegemony members made sounds that Kim's translator said were laughter. Amusing, Velthor said. The newest species thinks it can negotiate. The laughter got louder. Very well, Ambassador Kim Taeho of Earth. You have 7 solar cycles to return with your answer. Velthar's black eyes seemed to look right through. Kim, consider this your only warning. The emergency meeting room in Geneva was filled with smoke and the smell of too much coffee. President Choi Haijin sat at the head of a long table, looking at the faces of world leaders on dozens of screens around the room. Some were calling in from the middle of the night, others from early morning, but all of them looked worried and tired. General Yoon Dae-jun stood beside a huge wall screen that showed Earth's solar system. Red dots marked the locations of alien ships that had been watching Earth since the meeting at Concordia Prime. The aliens were not hiding anymore. They've been watching us for 3 days, General Yoon said, pointing at the screen. 12 ships just sitting there at the edge of our solar system. They are not doing anything, just ... waiting. President Choi rubbed her eyes. She had not slept much since Ambassador Kim's message arrived from the space station. What about the other species? The ones who got the same demand? Intelligence Director Han Seung-min opened a thick folder. His face was pale. 3 species have already responded, Madam President. The Kethrin, the Zillinary, and the Voxtel. All 3 refused to give up their military forces. And President Choi asked, though she was afraid of the answer. They are gone, Han said, quietly. Complete orbital bombardment. The hegemony destroyed their home planets yesterday. Billions dead in each system. The room became very quiet. On the video screens, world leaders looked shocked and scared. The president of Brazil was shaking his head. The Prime Minister of India had her hands over her face. So our choices are surrender or death, said the Chancellor of Germany. Not, said a new voice. Dr. Kang Hwa-young walked into the room carrying a metal briefcase. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her eyes were sharp and determined. Madam President, may I show everyone something? President Choi nodded. Dr. Kang opened her briefcase and pulled out a small device that looked like a crystal cube. She placed it on the table and pressed a button. The cube began to glow, and suddenly the room was filled with floating images of spaceships, weapons, and strange machines. What you are seeing, Dr. Kang said, is Earth's real military capability. What we have shown the galaxy so far is perhaps 10% of what we actually have. Foreign Minister Seo Jae-han leaned forward. What do you mean? We have been preparing for this day since we first met aliens 10 years ago, Dr. Kang explained. We knew that peaceful species do not usually explore space with giant warships. So we prepared. The floating images changed to show factories hidden inside mountains, space stations disguised as asteroids, and weapons that looked like nothing the aliens had ever seen. For 10 years, we have been building, learning, and preparing, Dr. Kang continued. We studied every piece of alien technology we could find. We learned their weaknesses. We built weapons they have never seen before. General Yoon was staring at the images with wide eyes. Dr. Kang, some of these weapons, they could destroy entire fleets. Yes, Dr. Kang said simply. That was the idea, the Russian president spoke from his screen. But can we win against the entire hegemony? They have thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. We do not need to win, Dr. Kang replied. We just need to make them understand that attacking Earth will cost them more than they are willing to pay. President Choi stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of Geneva, peaceful and quiet. Normal people were going about their normal lives, not knowing that their planet might be destroyed in a few days. The other species that refused, she said without turning around. Did they fight back? No, madam, President Han answered. They surrendered immediately when the hegemony ships arrived. They thought it would save some of their people. It did not work? No, the hegemony destroyed them anyway. They said it was to set an example. President Choi turned back to the room. So surrender means slow death, and resistance means we die fighting. There is a third option, Dr. Kong said. We make them afraid to fight us at all. Communication device. The table began beeping. Ambassador Kim's face appeared on the screen. He was still on the space station, but he looked older than he had a few days ago. Madame President, he said, the hegemony is asking for our answer. The other species here are watching. Some of them are hoping we will resist. Others think we should surrender to save lives. President Choi looked around the room at all the faces, both real and on screens. These were the people who had to make the hardest decision in human history. Ambassador Kim, she said, her voice steady and clear. Please send our response to the hegemony. Tell them that humanity respectfully declines their terms. Tell them that we will defend ourselves. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Ambassador Kim nodded. Yes, Madam President, I will send the message. Within minutes, the alien reply came back. It was short and cold. Then you will serve as an example to others. President Choi smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Dr. Kang, begin preparations. General Yoon, activate all defense systems. It is time to show the galaxy what humans can do. Admiral Nam Ji-woo stood on the bridge of the hidden command station, floating in the darkness beyond Neptune. The station looked like a large asteroid from the outside, but inside it was filled with the most advanced computers and weapons Earth had ever built. Through the main window, she could see nothing but empty space and distant stars. Admiral called Captain Oh Han-woo from his position at the communications desk. We are getting reports from the outer sensors. The hegemony fleet has arrived. Nam Ji-woo walked to the main display screen. What she saw made her heart skip a beat. 200 alien ships had appeared at the edge of the solar system, each one larger than anything humans had ever built. They were beautiful and terrible, glowing with their own light and moving in perfect formation. They are big, whispered Lieutenant Baek Soo-jin, who was standing nearby. She was young, maybe 25, and this was her first real battle. Size is not everything, Nam Ji-woo replied, but even she felt small looking at the massive alien. Fleet, Commander Lim Dae-yoon. What is the status of our hidden assets? Commander Lim was a woman with short black hair and quick fingers that moved across her control panel like a pianist. All Lazarus grid stations are online and ready. The aliens think they are looking at space junk, but we have 300 kinetic platforms positioned throughout the system. Nam Ji-woo nodded. For 10 years, Earth had been quietly placing weapons in space, disguising them as broken satellites, old rocket parts, and pieces of destroyed asteroids. The aliens had scanned them many times but never realized what they were really looking at. The hegemony is broadcasting, Oh Han-woo announced. They want to talk to Earth. Put it on the main screen, Nam Ji-woo ordered. The display changed. To show the inside of an alien ship? High Arbiter Velthor stood in the center, his silver skin gleaming under bright lights. Behind him, other hegemony members watched with their strange, emotionless faces. People of Earth, Velthor said in his cold voice, you have chosen to resist our generous offer. This is unfortunate but not surprising. Primitive species often make poor decisions. Nam Ji-woo felt her hands turn into fists, but she kept her face calm. Look upon our fleet, Velthor continued. 200 ships, each one capable of destroying your largest cities. Your entire planet could be turned to glass in minutes. We offer you one final chance to surrender. The screen went black. Around the command center, human officers looked at each other nervously. They had trained for this moment, but seeing the actual alien fleet made everything feel very real. Admiral Oh Han-woo said, they are waiting for our response. Nam Ji-woo walked to the communications panel and pressed a button. Pressed a broadcast, not just to the alien fleet, but to every human ship and station in the solar system. Is Admiral Nam Ji-woo of the Earth Defense Force, she said. We have heard your offer, and our answer is no. Earth will defend itself. For a moment nothing happened. Then the alien fleet began to move forward, slowly but steadily, heading toward Earth. They were not in a hurry. They thought this would be easy. Commander Lim, Nam Ji-woo, said, activate the Lazarus grid. Show them what human creativity looks like. All across the solar system, pieces of what looked like space garbage suddenly came to life. Old satellite dishes turned into laser weapons. Broken rocket parts opened up to reveal swarms of tiny attack drones. Asteroids split open to show missile launchers hidden inside. The first alien ship to enter the defense zone was huge and proud, its shields glowing bright blue. It never saw the kinetic platform that hit it from the side. The weapon was simple, just a chunk of metal accelerated to incredible speed. But it punched through the alien shields like they were made of paper. Direct hit, called out Lieutenant Beak. Their shields are down. Round the command center, people began to cheer, but Nam Ji-woo held up her hand. One ship out of 200? Do not celebrate yet? The alien fleet stopped moving forward. They had expected their shields to protect them from anything humans could throw at them. Now they were scanning the area frantically, trying to figure out what had hit them. Launch the drone swarms, Nam Ji-woo ordered. From hidden bases throughout the solar system, clouds of small attack drones began to emerge. Each drone was no bigger than a car, but they moved faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. They were controlled by artificial intelligence that could make decisions in microseconds. Battle of Luna's Shadow had begun. Human fighters, led by pilots like Lieutenant Beak, flew their small ships against the massive alien vessels. The humans were badly outnumbered, but they fought with a desperate fury that surprised their enemies. Their weapons are adapting, Commander Lim reported. Every time we hit them, they learn how to defend better. Dr. Kong's research had been right. The aliens were more advanced, but they had been fighting the same way for thousands of years. Humans were doing things they had never seen before, using tactics that made no sense according to their military books. But numbers were still numbers. Slowly, the alien fleet pushed through Earth's outer defenses, leaving burning human ships behind them. They were preparing for the final attack on Earth itself. Admiral Oh Hyun-woo said quietly, "They are getting through." Nam Ji-woo looked at the display showing the alien fleet moving closer to Earth. "Then, it is time for Phase 2. Contact Dr. Kong and tell her to activate Project Lazarus. All of it." Director Shin Woo-jin sat in his underground bunker, 3 kilometers beneath the mountains of South Korea. The bunker was so deep that he could not feel the vibrations from the battle happening in space above. But on his screens he could see everything. The alien fleet was getting closer to Earth, and the outer defenses were failing. "Sir," called Chief Engineer Park Yoon-ji from her control station. "Admiral Nam is requesting activation of Project Lazarus. Yes. All phases." Shin looked at the red button on his desk. He had hoped they would never need to use it. For 10 years, this button had waited, and now the moment had finally come. "Are all the hidden facilities ready?" he asked.
"Yes, sir."
237 locations across the globe. They have been waiting for this signal. Their Shin pressed the button. Across the entire planet, things that looked like normal buildings suddenly began to change. A car factory in Detroit opened its roof and started producing small fighter ships instead of automobiles. A research station in Antarctica revealed giant underground chambers filled with weapons. Even some schools and hospitals had secret levels below them where war materials had been stored. "The entire planet is becoming a weapon," Park Yoon-ji said, watching the reports come in. "Production rate is increasing by 300% every hour." In space, Colonel Young Myung was coordinating the defense grid from her command ship. She was a small woman, with scars on her face from an old training accident. But her voice was calm and steady even as alien weapons exploded around her ship. "This is interesting," she said, watching the tactical display. "The aliens keep expecting us to fight like them. They have rules, formations, proper military procedures. But we are not following any rules." On her screen, she could see human pilots doing things that made no sense according to normal military thinking. Captain Lee Dong-hook had deliberately crashed his damaged ship into an alien cruiser. But instead of dying, he and his crew had somehow survived and were now fighting inside the alien ship. Captain Li Yang called over the radio. "What is your status?" "We are in their engine room," Lee replied. His voice was excited. "These aliens have never been boarded before. They do not know how to fight us inside their own ships. We are taking control." Yang smiled. This was exactly what Dr. Kong had predicted. Aliens were more advanced, but they had been fighting the same enemies for thousands of years. They had never faced humans before. All units, Yang broadcast, new tactic. If your ship is too damaged to fight, ram it into an alien vessel and board them. They cannot handle close combat. Commander Kim Yura was already doing exactly that. Her ship was badly damaged, with fires burning in 3 different sections, but she guided it directly into the hangar bay of an alien dreadnought. The impact threw her against the wall, but she got up and grabbed her weapon. "Follow me," she told her crew. "Time to show these aliens what humans can do." The aliens inside their ship were tall and graceful, with technology that was clearly superior to anything humans had. But when Kim and her crew came running at them with simple guns and knives, the aliens did not know what to do. They had weapons that could destroy planets. They had never learned how to fight someone who got close enough to touch them. "They are afraid," Kim reported over the radio. "They're actually afraid of us." Back in the command bunker, Shin was watching reports from all over the world. The hidden factories were working faster than anyone had thought possible. Ships that should have taken months to build were being completed in hours. "How is this possible?" he asked Park Yoonji. "Automation," she replied, and desperation. "Humans are fighting for their lives. They can do impossible things." The alien fleet was still advancing, but now they were moving more slowly. Every few minutes, another alien ship would suddenly go dark as human boarding parties took control. The aliens were learning that fighting humans was not like fighting other species. "They are changing their tactics," reported Yang from her command ship. "They are trying to stay away from us now. They do not want to get close." "But they still have to come to Earth," Shin said. "They cannot bombard the planet from far away. They need to get close." In space, Admiral Nam Ji-woo was watching the same thing. The alien fleet was hesitating, something they had never done before. They were starting to realize that this was not going to be the easy victory they had expected. "Signal from the alien flagship," reported Captain Oh Hyun-woo. "Put it through," Nam said. High Arbiter Valthor appeared on the screen again. This time he did not look as confident as before. His silver skin seemed paler, and his black eyes were wider. "Human Admiral," he said, "your species fights, ... strangely. This is not normal warfare." "No," Nam replied with a cold smile. "This is human warfare. You wanted to see what we were capable of. Now you are finding out." The alien fleet continued moving toward Earth, but now they were afraid. They had awakened something they did not understand, and it was fighting back with a fury they had never seen before. Admiral Cho Sang-woo watched from the bridge of his flagship as the hidden fleet emerged from the asteroid belt. For months, these ships had been disguised as mining equipment and space rocks, but now they revealed their true nature. Sleek warships. With weapons that combined human creativity with stolen alien technology, began moving toward the hegemony fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Cho," he spoke into his communicator. "Today we show the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity. Attack Formation Alpha. No mercy." The counterattack began like a storm of metal and fire. Captain Moon Hae-won piloted her cruiser straight toward the alien flagship. Her ship's hull already cracked and bleeding air into space. Her crew had volunteered for this mission, knowing they would not survive. "This is Captain Moon," she said. Over the radio, her voice calm despite the chaos around her. "My ship is too damaged to continue fighting normally. I am going to ram the alien flagship." "Captain, you do not have to do this," Admiral Cho replied. "Yes, I do," Moon said. "Tell my family I died protecting Earth." Her ship smashed into the alien flagship's main weapon, causing a massive explosion that lit up the darkness of space. The alien ship was not destroyed, but it was badly damaged and could no longer fight effectively. All across the battlefield, human ships were doing the impossible. Major Young So-young led a boarding party that had taken control of 3 alien vessels. She and her soldiers fought with simple weapons against enemies who had technology beyond human understanding. But they were winning through pure determination. "These aliens have never faced anyone like us," Jung reported from inside an alien ship. "They know how to fight with computers and energy weapons, but they do not know how to fight with their hands. We are beating them in their own corridors." "Commander, Park Taman was coordinating swarms of tiny attack drones that moved like angry insects around the massive alien ships. Each drone was small enough to fit in a person's hand, but together they could overwhelm the alien defense systems. "The aliens keep trying to shoot down individual drones," Park reported. "They do not understand that we have thousands of them. When they destroy one, 10 more take its place." From Earth, President Choi watched the battle through satellite feeds. The human fleet was smaller than the alien force, but they were fighting with a fury that seemed to surprise even themselves. Ships that should have been destroyed kept fighting. Crews that should have surrendered instead found new ways to attack. "Dr. Kung," President Choi said, "is this what you expected?" Dr. Kung stood beside her, watching the displays with bright eyes. "This is exactly what I hoped for. The aliens have been fighting the same way for thousands of years. They have rules, procedures, proper military tactics, but humans do not follow their rules." On the main screen, they could see Commander Kim Hyunsu's ship flying directly through the middle of an alien formation, firing in all directions. Her ship was so small compared to the alien vessels that their weapons could not target her properly. "Human ship," came a voice over the radio. It was an alien commander speaking through a translator. "Your tactics make no sense. You cannot win this battle." "Maybe not," Kim replied, "but we can make you pay for every meter of space you take." The tide of battle began to turn when the aliens realized that humans would rather die than surrender. Every time the hegemony destroyed a human ship, the remaining humans fought harder. Every time they captured a human position, more humans would attack from unexpected directions. Admiral Nam Ju-woo, still commanding from her hidden station, watched. As the alien fleet began to retreat toward the edge of the solar system, they were not defeated, but they were no longer confident in their victory. "Signal from the alien flagship," reported Captain Oh Hyun-woo. "Put it through," Nam said. High Arbiter Velthor appeared on the screen, but he looked very different now. His silver skin was darker, and his black eyes seemed smaller. Behind him, other alien commanders looked worried and confused. The human Admiral Velthar said, We did not expect this level of resistance. Perhaps we can discuss terms." "Terms," Nam replied. "You had your chance for terms. You rejected peaceful coexistence, and now you face the consequences. Surely you understand that continued fighting will only lead to more death," Velthor said. "Yes," Nam agreed. "Your deaths." The alien fleet continued to retreat, but human ships followed them. The battle was spreading beyond Earth's solar system, and other alien species throughout the galaxy were watching in amazement. 3 months later, Ambassador Kim Tae-ho stood in the same great hall on Concordia Prime where this had all begun. But now, everything was different. The hegemony's seats at the top of the hall were empty. Representatives from dozens of species that had been freed from hegemony control sat in their place. "The age of domination is over," Kim announced to the assembled aliens. "Humanity does not seek to rule the galaxy. We seek partnership among equals." He looked around the vast hall, meeting the eyes of creatures from 100 different worlds. "But understand this," Kim continued, his voice carrying clearly through the universal translators. "Humanity gave you one warning. We do not give second chances. Any species that threatens innocent life will face the same fate as the hegemony." The hall was